Well, folks, today, what shall I talk about? Are people too precious in this day and age? I remember in my nursing years spending hours, days, weeks talking to people that lived through the war, that were there in the care of the elderly wards, and all they had to do was talk because they couldn't do anything else. They needed help with just about everything else. It's a bleak time of life, folks. Getting old is not for lightweights, that's for certain, for many people. And all that's left is their stories and their sharing. And I used to think, wow, the war seems so long away, and having to sleep underground and having all sorts of rationing and things like that. It's just an alien concept to us today. So they must have looked at us and thought, oh, these kids don't know. And yet now I find myself doing the same. I'm thinking, well, it was a little bit tougher for us than it was for them, but the threat of getting your head flushed down the toilet or getting beaten up at school was nothing compared to having to dodge bombs or go to sleep not knowing if you're going to wake up. So everything was relative. So the question I have now is, are we getting too soft? Are we too tolerant of things? And when I say tolerant, there seems to be the thought police now, what we can and can't say. Now, if history has taught you one thing, is that never works. Telling people what they can and can't say, well, no, start with yourself, folks. Start with yourself. And not only that, with my background in lunacy, I've always thought if you're going to deal with lunatics, you've got to out-lunatic them. So for all of the people that would say, you can say this, you can't say that, I want to be called this, well, I just say I want to be called a badger. I don't identify as a human at all. So we can take it to another level, folks. And then if you don't respect my right to be a badger, then why should I respect your right to be anything you want? So you can be as lunatic or ridiculous as you want, or you can just be sensible. And there is a gap between tolerance and acceptance. And that's where we need to find, because tolerance is the father of hate, and acceptance is the child of listening and trying to understand, and stop being such a bigot, because we all are at heart. Everybody's got bigotry gene.